This whole mess unfolded over the weekend, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. My best friend, Chris, confessed his love for my wife, Anna, while I was out running an errand. To say I'm pissed would be an understatement. But what really gets me is how Anna is more concerned about Chris than she is about what this means for us. It's like I'm living in some alternate reality where I'm the only one who sees how messed up this whole situation is. Let me back up and give you some context. Chris and I have been friends since 10th grade. We've been through a lot together. And he's always been more popular than me. He was the guy who always had a new girl on his arm. The center of attention at parties. The life of every social gathering. I was just there, along for the ride. And honestly, that was fine by me. I'm not the type who needs to be the star of the show. But I can't deny that, deep down, I always felt a little overshadowed by him. Then came Anna. We met her in university. And she was different from anyone either of us had met before. She was smart, driven, beautiful, and completely out of our league. Chris, being Chris, made a move on her right away. But she wasn't interested. At the time, she was with someone else. So she shut him down pretty quickly. I watched the whole thing go down. And I had to admit, that rejection stuck with me. It's not like I was happy to see Chris get turned down. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't make me feel like maybe, just maybe, I had a shot with her. A few months later, Anna and her boyfriend broke up. And I made my move. To my surprise, she said yes, and we started dating. I couldn't believe my luck. I was with the girl who had said no to Chris. It felt like a win. Even though I know that's not the healthiest way to look at a relationship. But back then, I didn't care. I was just happy to be with her. Chris, on the other hand, didn't take it well. He and Anna never really got along after that. There was always this weird tension between them. Like they were two magnets constantly repelling each other. I tried to smooth things over. But it never really worked. For a while, it seemed like we were all just tolerating each other for the sake of our friendship. Then, about a year ago, things changed. Anna got pregnant, and as we prepared for the baby, she actually set Chris up with one of her cousins. It was a strange twist, given how rocky their relationship had been, but it seemed to work. Chris and her cousin started dating, and things between him and Anna improved. For the first time in years, it felt like we could all be friends without any of that old baggage hanging over us. Anna gave birth to our son in January, and things were hectic but good. Chris broke up with her cousin around the same time, which was awkward, but neither of them wanted to talk about why. Her cousin stopped talking to Anna after the breakup, which strained things further, but I figured it was just one of those things people go through. Relationships end, and sometimes it's messy, but now, looking back, I wonder if there was more to it than that. Everything came to a head this weekend. Chris came over to hang out like he always does, and everything seemed fine. I had to run out for a quick errand. So I left him and Anna alone at the house. I was only gone for about 20 minutes. But when I came back, Chris was gone, and Anna was acting strange. She was quiet, fidgety, like she had something on her mind but didn't know how to say it. I asked her what was up, and that's when she told me. While I was out, Chris had confessed that he was in love with her. He didn't stick around for my return. He dropped the bombshell and left. Anna was shaken, but what really bothered me was how she reacted. She wasn't angry at Chris, or upset about how this might affect our relationship. No, she was worried about him. She kept saying how concerned she was for Chris, how he must be going through something difficult to feel this way. It was like her priority was protecting his feelings, not mine. I couldn't believe it. Here I am, dealing with the fact that my best friend has just confessed his love for my wife. And all she can think about is how he's feeling. I felt like I was living in crazy town. Shouldn't she be more concerned about us? About how this is going to impact our marriage? Things haven't been great between Anna and me lately. Having a baby changes everything. And we've been struggling to find our footing as new parents. We've had our share of arguments. And there's been this underlying tension that neither of us can seem to shake. But I never thought for a second that Chris would be the one to throw a wrench into things like this. I've known the guy for over a decade. And I trusted him. I never saw this coming. Now, I'm stuck trying to figure out what to do. Part of me wants to confront Chris and demand answers. What the hell is he thinking? What does he expect to happen now? Does he think Anna's going to leave me for him? But another part of me feels like I need to focus on my marriage and let Chris sort out his own mess. I've got enough on my plate without adding a confrontation with my best friend into the mix. And then there's Anna. I don't know what to make of her reaction. Shouldn't she be more upset about this? I know she's not responsible for Chris's feelings. But the fact that she's more worried about him than about how this affects us, it doesn't sit right with me. I don't want to believe there's anything going on between them. But her response has me second-guessing everything. I keep running through the last few months in my head, trying to figure out if I missed something. Were there signs? Did Chris act differently around her? Did Anna? I can't pinpoint anything specific. But now that I know how Chris feels, I can't help but wonder if there's been more going on under the surface than I realized. To make things worse, Anna keeps trying to downplay the whole situation. She insists that Chris is just confused, that he's going through something, and that we shouldn't make a big deal out of it. But how can I not make a big deal out of this? My best friend confessed his love for my wife. That's a pretty big deal in my book. I don't know what to do next. Do I cut Chris out of my life? Do I try to fix things with him? And what about Anna? How do we move past this? I feel like I'm stuck in this whirlwind of confusion and frustration. And I don't know how to find my way out. I guess that's why I'm writing all this down. I need to get it out, to process everything that's happened and try to make sense of it. But even as I write, I'm no closer to figuring out what the right move is. Am I the asshole for being upset? Should I be more understanding of Chris's feelings? Or is my anger justified? I don't know. All I know is that my best friend loves my wife. And nothing is ever going to be the same again.
When my boyfriend and I first started dating, it was like a dream. He was everything I wanted, kind, supportive, and loving. We connected instantly, and for the first year or so, I was on cloud nine. He had a steady job, and we shared a lot of the same values. I thought we were on the same page about life, love, and the future. But over time, things began to change, and I started to question whether the life we were building together was the one I truly wanted. We've been together for almost 3 years now. And about a year ago, my boyfriend, let's call him Mike, decided to quit his job to pursue his dream of becoming a professional streamer. At first, I was supportive. I knew he had a passion for gaming. And while it seemed a little far-fetched, I wanted to believe in him. I think a big part of me just wanted to be the supportive girlfriend. The one who stands by her man while he chases his dreams. I convinced myself that it would work out. That he would make it big. And everything would be okay. But as the months dragged on, it became clear that things weren't going as smoothly as either of us had hoped. Mike wasn't making much money. And his streaming channel wasn't gaining any real traction. He spent hours every day playing games, tweaking his setup, and half-heartedly promoting his channel. But it felt like we were stuck in this endless loop with no progress. I tried to be patient. I really did. I kept telling myself that it takes time to build a following. That he just needed more time to get things off the ground. Meanwhile, I was working full-time, trying to keep up with all the bills. At first, it wasn't a big deal. We had some savings, and I could cover most of our expenses without too much trouble. But as time went on, I started feeling the pressure. My job was demanding. And coming home every night to see Mike playing video games while I stressed over the finances started to weigh on me. We had multiple discussions about it. I tried to explain how I was feeling. That I couldn't carry the financial burden alone forever. But every time, Mike would brush it off. He'd say things like, "You just need to believe in me." Or, "This is only temporary. Once I make it big, it'll all pay off." But the truth is, nothing was changing. His streams weren't growing, and it didn't seem like he was putting in the effort to make things happen. I watched as he spent more and more time gaming. But the passion I once saw in him started to fade. It was like he was going through the motions, waiting for success to come to him instead of actively working for it. I felt like I was the only one truly worrying about our future. The tipping point came a few weeks ago. Mike asked me to lend him money from my savings to upgrade his streaming setup. He said it would help him attract more viewers. That it was the investment he needed to take his channel to the next level. But I knew that wasn't the answer. We didn't need more expensive equipment, we needed stability. A plan. A way to stop living paycheck to paycheck while we chased a pipe dream. I told him no. I couldn't justify dipping into my savings when we were already struggling to make ends meet. That's when things really blew up. He accused me of not supporting him, of not believing in him when he needed me most. He said I was being selfish, that I was giving up on him just because things were tough. It was like he couldn't see the reality of our situation. Or worse, he didn't want to. He was so wrapped up in his dream that he couldn't understand why I was frustrated. Why I was scared for our future. In that moment, I realized something that had been creeping up on me for a while. I don't see a future with Mike. I love him, but love isn't enough to build a life on. We need stability, we need a plan, and we need to be on the same page about what we want out of life. And right now, we're not. He's chasing a dream with no backup plan. And I'm stuck picking up the pieces, trying to make sure we don't sink under the weight of our bills. I've always been a practical person. I'm not opposed to taking risks. But those risks need to be calculated. And there has to be a safety net. Mike doesn't see it that way. He's always been a bit of a dreamer. And while that's part of what attracted me to him in the first place, it's also what's driving us apart now. I can't keep pouring everything I have into a relationship where I feel like I'm the only one carrying the weight. Part of me feels guilty. I feel like I'm betraying him by not fully supporting his dream. But another part of me knows that I've been more than supportive. I've been covering our bills, making sacrifices, and doing everything I can to make this work. But it's not enough. I can't keep sacrificing my own financial security for something that's so uncertain. It's not just about the money, though. It's about the way Mike has changed. He used to be ambitious and driven, but now he seems stuck in this rut. He talks about how things will get better, but I don't see him putting in the work to make that happen. He spends most of his day gaming, but it's not the kind of focused, purposeful gaming that I see in successful streamers. It's more like he's just passing the time, hoping that success will come to him if he waits long enough. I've tried to encourage him to look for other jobs, at least part-time, while he continues to pursue his streaming. But every time I bring it up, he shuts me down. He says getting another job would take away from his dream, that it would be like admitting defeat. I don't see it that way. I see it as being responsible, as taking care of ourselves in the present so that we have a future to look forward to. But Mike doesn't seem to understand that. He's so focused on the future he wants that he's ignoring the reality of our present. I'm at a crossroads now. I've been thinking a lot about what I want out of life. And I'm starting to realize that I don't want the same things as Mike. I want stability, a family, a home that feels secure. I want a partner who is willing to put in the work to build a life together. Not someone who's chasing a dream with no plan B. I don't know if Mike is that person anymore. And it's breaking my heart. I've been going over our relationship in my mind, trying to figure out where things went wrong. Was it when he quit his job? Or was it before that, when I started noticing the cracks in our communication? I'm not sure, but what I do know is that I can't keep pretending everything is okay when it's not. I can't keep pouring my energy into a relationship that's draining me, emotionally and financially. The hardest part is that I still care about Mike. I don't want to hurt him. But I also know that I need to take care of myself. I've spent the past year trying to support him, trying to be patient, trying to believe that things will get better. But they haven't, and I'm starting to lose hope that they ever will. Mike says I'm giving up on him when he's at his lowest. But I don't see it that way. I feel like I've been holding him up for the past year. And now I'm running out of strength. I'm exhausted, emotionally and physically, from trying to keep everything together. I don't think it's selfish to want stability, to want a partner who is willing to meet me halfway. But Mike makes me feel like it is. I've been talking to some of my friends about the situation, and they all have different opinions. Some of them say I'm right to want more from the relationship, that Mike needs to get his act together and start contributing. Others say I should be more patient, that I should stick it out because things will get better eventually. But I don't know if I have the energy to keep waiting for eventually. I'm at the point now where I'm seriously considering ending the relationship. It's not a decision I'm making lightly, but I feel like I'm running out of options. I've tried talking to Mike. I've tried being supportive. I've tried everything I can think of to make this work. But nothing seems to be changing. And I can't keep living in this state of uncertainty. I don't know if that makes me an asshole. Maybe it does. Maybe I should be willing to sacrifice more for someone I love. But I also believe that relationships are partnerships. And right now, it feels like I'm the only one holding up my end of the bargain. I want to believe that Mike will find success. That his dream will pay off in the end. But I also know that dreams don't pay the bills. And I can't keep shouldering this burden alone. I've spent the last year supporting him. And now I need to support myself. I just don't know if Mike will ever understand that.